Your name, your address, and your phone number are floating around the internet. Easy for strangers, scammers, and companies you've never heard of to find. Data brokers and shady databases collect and sell your private details to anyone willing to pay, putting you at risk of nonstop spam, scams, and fraud. You can't stop them from collecting data, but you can control who gets to keep it. That's why I use Incogni. They remove your private information from more than 420 of these sites automatically. And with their unlimited plan, you get total coverage. If you spot your personal details anywhere else online, just send them the link, and their privacy experts will get it taken down. It's the easiest, most complete way to protect yourself and personal life. Right now, you can lock in 60% off with my exclusive deal at privacykim.com. Go to privacykim.com right now and start protecting your privacy. This is so important. Privacykim.com. That's privacykim.com.
Welcome to the Kim Commando Show podcast for the weekend of August 26th, 2023. Thank you for being a community member. Here's hour one.
All right, let's kick it off with something super interesting. And usually when the power goes out, we blame the weather or maybe a tree fell, but not this time. This is really something. Over 2,000 people were left in the dark by something a little strange. It was a fish. That's right. A fish cut the power. Authorities found one laying dead atop a transformer. So how did it get there? They say that a bird likely dropped his lunch. You know, speaking of, I was just so super excited to tell you all my new fish puns. Oh, wow. But when I ran them by the folks here in the studios, they said that they all floundered. And on that happy note, you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you just found my show and my podcast, welcome. Glad to have you with us. And if you're already a listener, glad to see you again, and thanks for spending your time with us. I'm, of course, Kim Commando, America's digital goddess. You just tapped into the biggest show, the best show, the most trusted show about all things digital. And you can find my award-winning show on over 420 top radio stations throughout the United States. We're streaming in your favorite radio app. Just search for my last name, Commando. And you can find us as a podcast, as a webcast, commercial-free. Over inside the Commando community, head over to the website, commando.com, and in the upper right-hand corner, there's that big, bright yellow button that says Commando Community. And a big hello and salute goes out to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, reaching over 375,000 U.S. service members, serving in 175 countries and 200 ships at sea. I love that. And I know that you have a few questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, hey, I get that. Head over to the website, commando.com, and there's a link that says Email Kim. Alrighty, then every single day I check out at least 35 different websites to make sure that you and I are both up to date on all things digital. And here are 5 things in tech that you need to know are happening right now. And let's start here. You receive a phone call from your kid, and they've been in an accident, they say. And you need to wire them $10,000 for urgent care. It's life or death. The voice sounds exactly like your child. All right, but you're smart. You listen to the show. So you know it could be a scam. So you call your child directly. But they don't pick up. So do you go and get the money? Of course you would. And scammers know this. And so with the latest AI tools, it's remarkably easy to create deep fakes of voices, especially kids who post videos on TikTok, Instagram, Snap, YouTube, Facebook, or whatever. Matter of fact, it just takes 3 seconds to clone a voice. Isn't that something? Now, here's how bad it is. Americans lost nearly $9 billion. Yeah, I said $1 billion last year, these scams. That's up 44% from 2021. The driving factor is, of course, AI, and it's only going to get worse. So my advice, create a secret code word between you and your family members right now. And if you get a call from anybody in trouble, ask them for the code word and see if they know it. And then if they don't, it's going to save you a ton of worry. All right, number 2 on our list, a new target for thieves. Bob Scheiderman in Los Angeles walked out to his driveway one morning in L.A. and something was off. His electric car's charging cord was just gone. He thought, that didn't make any sense. Maybe I left it somewhere? Well, it started nagging him. So he checked his Ring security camera, and there it was, clear as day, 5:22 a.m. Guy just came over, unplugged the cord to his EV, took it from the wall socket, and then rode off on a bicycle. EV cables are becoming a hot commodity for thieves, and crooks are snagging the cables. Why? Because they're packed with copper and they can sell it, right? Now, the cost of losing a cable is expensive, anywhere from $300 to maybe over $1,000. So what can you do to protect yours? Charge your car inside the garage. Wait, no, you can't do that because EV makers say, car could go on fire. All right, so the next best thing, put your charger in a lockable metal cage or box and make sure that's well ventilated to prevent overheating. Now, there are these plug locks that will prevent the charger plug from being removed from the car. You might want to also use security labels or engrave your EV charger. If the whole idea is a thief sees that the device is marked, maybe it'll be harder to sell. But I still would probably vote for those lockable metal cages or boxes. This is why we can't have nice things, right? All right, number 3 on our list, a couple of big things happened over at X, formerly Twitter, this past week. There was a glitch. It caused all photos pre-2014 to just be deleted. Yeah, I'm not making this up. Poof. Guess they didn't have any backups. What was up with that? Elon Musk also says sharing news links will be stripped of article titles so that people can create their own. Well, this is bad news for journalists and writers and news organizations. So what would you see? Just an image displaying the URL. That's it. If you want to post an article, you actually have to write your own headline in the tweet. What could possibly go wrong with this? Right? Oh my gosh. Confusion, misinformation. Now, Elon says here's the rationale. This is going to free up space on the X timeline and force journalists to write their posts directly on X. I don't know. I think it's just going to crash and burn. Musk also said this past week after the glitch, X might fail. Wow. Imagine spending $40 billion for a business and then publicly admitting that it just might fail. Not so. Number 4. Let's talk about copyrights. Writers, painters, photographers are thinking, is AI going to take away my job? Well, it's a pain point right now in the Hollywood writers' strike, and studios are replicating these background actors. They're hiring AI experts, large scales. I've talked about it here on the show, that Netflix is hiring somebody to head up the whole AI initiative at Netflix for $900,000 a year. Okay, but humans just got a big win. A federal judge ruled that AI-created art cannot be copyrighted. Okay, here's what went down. Computer scientist Stephen Thaler tried to get a copyright registration for his artwork generated what he calls the creativity machine a few times in court. This past time, his third time, was no different. The judge at the center of the ruling, Beryl Howell, said this: copyright law has never stretched so far to protect works generated by new forms of technology operating absent any guiding human mind. So that's the deal, the human mind. But, what does copyright mean to so many Chinese companies? What does it mean to these Chinese companies? Copyright, not wrong. And finally, this coming in at number 5, art and thieves. Oh, just reminds me of the best pun ever. Oh, wait, before I give you that, here's the story. A professor has a few very valuable inherited paintings, and he wants to know what they're worth. So he takes photos and he uploads them to Christie's site, the big auction house, where they promise an estimate of value and a potential auction interest. But the photos he uploaded, the photos pinpointed the location of where those valuable paintings were located. An art thief's treasure map, right? This isn't a one-off either. About 10% of the images loaded onto Christie's site all reveal their exact GPS coordinates too. Here's the deal. All it does is take a quick save of an image, look into the image's data on your computer, and a couple of researchers spotted this flaw on the site. Now, what's most shocking is this. Christie says it treats data with absolute care. Right. Thank you. Stark reminder, take photos with your phone. Be sure to take off all the geotagging your phone's camera setting, because that can reveal exactly where you're located. Okay. Art and thieves. My favorite pun of all time. You ready? Why did the art thief's van run out of gas as he drove away from the museum? Why? Because he had no Monet to buy the gas to make the van go. Ba-dum-bum. Oh, what a special treat we have for you right now. Let's go back to 2005. That's when YouTube was launched, and they had about, 2 million visitors a day. So let's go to today. YouTube has, are you ready? 2.6 billion users every single day. Now, there's this movie that I watched the other day. It's called The YouTube Effect, and Alex Winter is the director. And I have to tell you guys and gals that if you're looking for something to watch, you can go back in history and then you can actually see how YouTube has developed to this powerhouse that it is today. And joining us here on the Kim Komando Show is Alex. Alex, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Kim.
So what gave you the idea to do this video called The YouTube Effect?
Well, this is my fourth tech feature doc. I've been tracking the growth of online communities for a long time, and the first doc I made was about Napster, the rise and fall of Napster, and sort of dug into Sean Fanning and Sean Parker's adventures with that particular application and platform, and then the downfall of that as it created the largest online community at the time of over 100 million users online at once, which was fairly unheard of.
Right.
In 1999 in the age of dial-up. And as you said, fast forward to where we are today, and you've got billions of users per day on YouTube. It is the second most visited website in the world after Google, which is number one, and both are owned by the same company. They're both owned by Alphabet, really by Google. And so it felt long overdue to really examine closely how we got here and what the implications are of a platform with that much global reach. So Galen Hurd, the producer, approached me actually about partnering with her on this, and we kind of put both of our tech Rolodexes together and dove in. But it felt like high time to examine something that has that much influence and that much power.
So were you able to go behind the scenes and really go through the algorithms? Because that always drives me crazy, is that anytime something bad happens on YouTube, they just put their hands up in the air and they go, oh, you know what? We get like 500 hours of new content every minute. We just can't control all this, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I think that I was interested in, the short answer is yes. We talked to Susan Wojcicki, who was the CEO of YouTube at the time. She just resigned recently. Talked to Steve Chen, who was one of the original founders, and many other people. And in my research, I talked to most of the engineers that I was interested in talking to, both at YouTube and at Google, to kind of wrap my arms around what is driving the way the platform works and the way they respond to the way the platform works. And I think largely what we're getting at here that I had not seen talked about enough was that I think we're beyond the narrative of blaming everything on an algorithm. I think that there is very basic ad-based models here at work, meaning you are monetizing the proliferation of content, whether it's good or bad. We all know what kind of content is preferred by most people. What grabs eyeballs the most is the most salacious content that goes back hundreds of years. It's not a technology issue. That's a human nature issue.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
Yes, I think where we are today is very similar to where we were with the automobile in the 50s and 60s, where everyone is on platforms like this. Everyone is on YouTube. It's not going away. We don't want it to go away. We want to be able to use the benefits of a service like this, but it's high time there were guardrails in place. And we're well beyond, I think, making excuses for why that can't be done better or at all.
So you've been around tech for a long time, right? I mean, you mentioned Napster back in 1999. Okay, so when you were putting this whole movie together, which is phenomenal, I mean, what a feat, to do this.
Thank you.
What shocked you? What surprised you the most?
I think scale. I think that you can talk about these numbers, like you mentioned, 2 billion people. There's 4.6 billion video views a day.
Wow.
They're just astronomical numbers. You can look at profit, which is higher than most countries' GDP. But when you really look at these companies in detail, I think the scale and the influence, the actual societal impact was shocking to me. And I wasn't as aware of the level of proliferation. I think this idea of, I think the thesis that really grew on me as I was making it was that the parasocial power of YouTube, meaning kind of what you're doing here, what you and I are doing, where you've got someone looking in a webcam, talking to you, is very intimate, is very visceral and powerful. The world had never experienced that before the proliferation of video online, which really exploded with YouTube specifically. It was the first time it was easy to do that. So I think now the parasocial power of the people on that platform, with more people looking at that platform than anything else in the world, more than they're looking at movies or TV or news or any other type of content they're watching YouTube, that is really powerful and has a huge societal impact. And I think the scale of that was quite surprising to me. The deeper I dug, the bigger it got.
Oh, it's amazing. And now, where do you see, because you went through the whole historical aspect and the algorithms, and, we all know about like Mr. Beast's latest video that had what was it? 59.4, million views in 24 hours. Network television would die for 2 million views,
Right.
in one of their newscasts. And now we have YouTube competing with the likes of TikTok, Instagram. They brought out Shorts, which they basically just ripped off from other people. Where do you see the future of YouTube?
I think that it's important to understand what YouTube is and what it isn't. I think that's where people get caught up. And I think that when people are talking about the societal impact of these platforms, YouTube is often left out because people don't really understand what it is. And it's because it's so big. Right. TikTok is important and it's influential. I wouldn't discount it, but it's much, much smaller than YouTube in terms of how many people are engaging with it. But it also only does one thing. And YouTube does not just do one thing. YouTube is a video platform. It is news. It is entertainment. It is also influencers and DIY and social media.
Yeah, it's everything.
But YouTube is also a repository for all of recorded human history. So when you put all those things together, what you have is really something that's altogether its own animal, and it doesn't have any competitors. There's nobody who is really nipping at their heels in any meaningful way that they would need to worry about. So I would say that YouTube is going to continue to grow as it's been growing, unless there's a meaningful competitor that arrives, via another massive tech company, or there are regulations that are put in place that kind of break up the monopoly power that they have. I'd say one of those two things would sort of forestall it from just expanding infinitely, which is, I'm sure, what they're hoping it will be.
So, Alex, where can people watch the YouTube Effect?
We're out pretty much everywhere. So almost any place that you watch your digital stuff, we're there, including on YouTube. So we're all over. You can find us at youtubeeffect.com. Watch, I think, is our site. But we really are pretty much everywhere now.
Perfect. Thanks for being here, Alex. It was actually fun to go back in time and watch that video. Remember, Charlie, you bit my finger, and all the other ones? Yeah, it's in the movie as well. Over the next few months, hundreds of millions of birds are going to fly south for the winter. And thanks to machine learning, AI, cloud-based computing, data analytics, you can see how many birds took flight on live migration maps. And you can also help the birds arrive safely. It's a fascinating website, but let me give you the backstory. You see, birds mostly migrate at night. So Cornell and Colorado State University, they put together this super resource with the goal to help the birds have a safer journey. So, for example, working with Lights Out Texas, major office buildings in Dallas and Houston are dark when the birds are migrating. Otherwise, it'd be bad. Thousands of birds can die in one night. But you can do your part by switching off your lights when there are birds overhead. So the site for you to check out, it's called birdcast.info. You just click on Migration Tools. You can see the past, live, and prediction maps right in your area. Once again, that website is birdcast.info. All right, coming up in just a few moments, 5 ways that you're being tracked online. And then also, we have a major warning if you're sleeping next to your smartphone. Spoiler, you don't want to do that. All right, let's go back to the phones with Lisa in San Antonio, Texas.
Well, I don't know, this may bring you a little bit of humor, but it started out that way, but now it's gotten pretty scary here. I started getting texts and phone calls from unknown sources. This started last Tuesday. And they would say, available, can you talk, and then some got worse. So I was telling some of my friends about it. We were at breakfast, and I said, I'm going to go home and Google my phone number. And sure enough, it was posted, my phone number, on a escort site, which escort is a nice term for it.
Okay, so it's that porno site.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh.
And
okay.
So, me just, everything I can do, report junk, blocking the calls. And so, like I said, it started last Tuesday night. Over the weekend was terrible. And then last couple of days, it stopped. So I'm thinking, is this just going to be a weekend thing? It's, But my question is, how can I remove that information from Google, even though I've gone in there and asked them to remove it, and it doesn't meet their criteria or whatever? You know, it has my phone number.
Well, they should be removing that now because they have new ways. They're supposed to be removing that information now.
Okay. Where?
But let me tell you, here's what my concern is.
Okay.
Is that, you know, you can go to this website and you can ask them to take the number down. Okay. Have you done that?
No, because when I've gone on there, I don't see any kind of, it's kind of like it says independent.
All right. Well, here's how you find out who owns a website.
Okay.
You go to a website, whois.net. Again, that's whois.net. And you can type in any website. Hopefully they don't have their listing hidden. And you can find a contact email address and phone number. Okay.
Okay.
But because it's a porno site, it's not going to be a reputable business. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Versus if it was at a news organization. But even if you were to get it down, even if Google takes it down, my problem is that somebody has a copy of your phone number. And it's like you can block every number. You can set up different filters, silence unknown callers, and all that other stuff. Which
I do that,
and that sounds really great until you get a call from your doctor and they can't get through because they're unknown. So there's pros and cons to everything. What I would do is I would call my cellular provider, tell them this is what happened to my phone number. I need to change it.
Oh, gosh, I hate to do that.
I know you hate to do that. I know you hate that.
I know.
And I would hate to do it too because you get your phone number tied to just about everything in our lives.
Yes.
But, you know, once it's out there, it's kind of like people that call me and they say, oh, all of a sudden I'm getting a lot of spam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I try to block it all, but it still keeps coming.
Okay. Exactly.
All right. You know what? Once you're on the list, it's like the Hotel California. You can check in, but you ain't never going to leave, right?
Well, I wondered this about, what started is I called my security company last Tuesday because I keep getting some kind of alert from them that my panel battery is low. And when they said they'd transfer me, something didn't sound right. And I should have just hung up and ended up punching in yes, I'll, call me back. And then when they called me back, I couldn't understand the guy, so I asked him to call me again. Never happened. So
you got taken on that. Transfer. All right. So you called the wrong number. What happened?
Probably.
So because that's how they get you, especially if you Google like tech support phone number, whatever it is. All those phone numbers are bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty maybe tech savvy and not doing that. And I even check my call log and it shows my security company in my call log.
Well, then I would reach out to them too. I would reach out to them and speak to a manager. Tell them what happened. I want you to just bypass a rep, but speak to them. I wish I could. I mean, I would definitely go back and try to fill out that Google form. I definitely would do that because they this is recent. They came out and they said, if your personal identifiable information is on the internet and you want it off, we are going to take it off. And that includes your name, your home address, your email address, and your phone number. So they should take that down for you. But even if they take it down, I'm just afraid that, you know what, you're just going to be like whack-a-mole. As soon as you get rid of one, another one's going to pop up. Because once you're on those type of sites, like I said, they're just not reputable. I wish I had better news for you, Lisa, but thank you for your call. What a nightmare. All right, 5 ways that you're being tracked right now. Let's start with number 1, cookies, right? You collect cookies when you browse the web on your phone, your computer, your tablet. These are just these little bits of data, like personalization settings, advertising information. The upside is that these cookies save images and files, and this way you don't have to log in every single time you visit a site. But they can also contain a lot of your details. So you can delete the cookies, but better yet, use incognito mode. When you're surfing the web incognito, your browser doesn't save that history, the cookies, the site data, or information that you enter into forms. Now, it does keep any downloaded files or bookmarks, though. But just keep in mind that your ISP, it's going to see all of your activity. So can your employer, if they provide internet access, or the computer or your school. But to go into incognito mode really quickly, just hit Control-Shift-N on a Windows machine or Command-Shift-N on a Mac. For more privacy, fire up a VPN like ExpressVPN. But don't even think of using a free VPN, okay? Because it just doesn't have all the privacy features. And why do you think it's free? Because it's collecting and selling all your data, okay? Don't do that. Number 2, let's talk about encrypting your email. Big name email services like Yahoo, they don't provide end-to-end encryption. What that means is that somebody along the way could take a look at it. So if encrypting your emails is essential, you want to use a service like Proton Mail, Start Mail. There's also Hush Mail. Now, if you're using Gmail, you can send a confidential email. Emails that are sent in confidential mode can't be forwarded. And then you can choose whether to require a recipient to use a passcode or not to read it. A lot of people don't realize that you can actually do that in Gmail. Once again, that's a confidential mode. All right, your apps. Oh, my gosh. They're all tracking everywhere you go. So I want to make sure that you're not letting the apps track you that don't need to be tracking you. Like, of course, say your Uber, your Lyft, your weather app needs to know your location. But I don't know if the flashlight does, or a game, right? So I've got the steps over on the website on how you can make sure that not all this tracking is happening to you. Next on our list, number 4, your television. Yeah, okay, your streaming services, they're tracking your activity. And also your TV, it's also tracking you. And so we've got all the steps on how to make sure that no matter what TV that you're using, that it's not tracking everything that you're looking at for how long, commercials, stuff like that. And finally, this coming in at number 5, Google. All right. I know Google knows everything. They track your search, your click, your message, your request, and you can go into your history and clear all this out. The address is simple. It's myaccount.google.com. You might have to log in. And then you're going to see data and privacy, web activity, app activity, location history, YouTube history. And then one of the things I do want to point out here is that you can set up auto delete. Okay. And maybe you want to choose 3 months, 18 months, or 36 months. Now, I know you're sitting there going, oh, Kim Commando, this was so great, but I didn't get a chance to follow every single thing that you said because you were going so fast. Well, time is money. So head over to commando.com, and then there's a button that says show pics. You want to click there, and then you're going to find a link to this tip right there, free for the taking. All right, back to the phones we go with Bill in Oxnard, California.
I have a pretty basic question. My wife and I have older iPhones because all we do is make phone calls with them and maybe look at the internet just for news, and that's about it.
No, you actually use a phone? You actually use a phone to make a phone call?
Exactly. So, no, I text too, so okay. I'm doing that. But my question is, I've been seeing all of these things on the internet saying that it's no longer going to be supported. They're that old, which 5 years to me doesn't seem that old. But anyway, do we really need to be concerned about that? Do we have to go out and buy newer iPhones just so we're not exposed, or does it really not matter that they're no longer supported?
Oh, Bill.
Uh-oh.
You need to buy a new phone. You do. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm sure you have shoes in your closet from 1970, right? Okay.
Exactly so.
Okay, and you know what? And they're still good. They are. Okay, but you need to buy a new phone. Simply because what happens is the bad guys, they're always looking at ways to scam you, right? And even though you even though you don't just use the phone and you look things up on the internet and you text, there's still some vulnerability, especially if you're ever around any Wi-Fi. So that's why you want to, buy a new phone when the old ones stop losing their coverage as far as getting security updates.
Okay.
What kind of iPhones do you have?
I have the original SE. My wife has a 7.
Oh, yeah. You need to get rid of those. You do. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. But you know what?
I'm like a wife. Get rid of that shirt in your closet. You've had it for 27 years.
Okay. And you haven't worn it. So what are we holding it on to? Okay. Or those Levi's that you fit into 22 years ago. Okay. But you know what? But you can look at her and you can say, you know what? Because every woman has it. Okay, I know you have your skinny jeans. I know you do. Okay, and we're hoping that they're going to fit one day. We are. Okay. But the good news is you don't have to go buy a brand. Well, coming in September, we have the iPhone 15. Okay.
Right.
And so if you're like, well, I don't know if I want to spend, the new iPhone 15 Pro Max with 2 terabytes of storage. Guess how much that is?
It's over 1,000, I'm assuming.
Higher.
Oh, really? 1,500?
Keep going.
2,000?
A little bit more, $2,100.
Good Lord.
For a phone.
Yeah.
Okay. A phone. Okay. Yeah, it's a little computer. Okay. At that point, you might as well just buy a MacBook. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So what you do is you look at how long you keep your phones, which for you and your wife forever. But the iPhone 14 is going to get updates until 2029.
Okay.
The iPhone 13 until 2028. And the 12 is going to be until 2027. So what happens is that when the 15 comes out, everybody gets rid of their 14s and their 13s and their 12s. 12 is 2027. And that's when you and your wife may be able to pick up a nice deal.
Okay.
And you can buy
Great
them.
idea.
You can buy them refurbed. If you go to apple.com, at the bottom of the page, it says refurbished. You can buy refurbished. What I like about if you buy refurbed from Apple is that it comes with a guarantee. And they also will replace the screen if it's scratched in the back and all this other good stuff. You're going to find the phones cheaper on eBay and on Craigslist 100%.
Right.
But I'm not sure that you really want to do that, especially because you may not get that warranty. You may also find them, for sale over on Amazon. They also have a refurb. But again, if you're going to buy a refurbed Apple product, I would just go ahead and buy it from Apple again because it has that guarantee and warranty and all that other good stuff. So, hey, Bill, thanks for your call today. Sorry, I didn't have better news. Okay, so coming this September, probably around the 12th or 13th, we're going to get the announcement of the new iPhone 15 Pro and the Pro Max that I talked about. And then that means probably on, September 22nd is when you'll actually be able to go pick it up. But there are going to be some other new products. Like, for example, the Apple Watch Series 9, the Apple Watch Ultra 2. I would expect to see a new iPad mini and the AirPods Lite. And then maybe even the Vision Pro, that's the VR headset that some folks who have seen there are saying, this is amazing stuff. I can't wait to get one. I know. Just take my money. Okay, a word of advice from fire departments. If you're sleeping, do not charge your phone right next to you. Why? Smartphone batteries, even the new ones, they can explode. Now, here's the problem. You cannot smell a fire when you're sleeping. So if your fire starts to burn, you're not even going to know if it's happening. Super scary. Now, cell phone batteries have been known to blow up for a bunch of reasons. Maybe it's overheating, physical damage, normal wear and tear. So I know many of you are charging your phone right next to your bed. Super convenient, especially when you use your phone as an alarm clock. And with iOS 17, you just turn it and it looks like an old school digital alarm clock. But the problem, it gives you no time to react if suddenly your device sets on fire. So it's safer to charge your phone when you're up and about. But if you have to charge your phone when you're sleeping, plug it in the bathroom that's closest to you. Choose a location just far away from your pillow because I care about you. And don't forget 24/7, you can find me at the website. That's Commando.com. If you own a home, listen up. This is scary. The FBI is warning about a crime on the rise, home title theft. And it doesn't happen the way you might think. No break-ins, no stolen keys, just a forged signature on a single piece of paper filed with the county. In minutes, criminals can transfer the title out of your name, then use your ownership to drain your equity or even sell your home. The worst part, most people don't know what's happening until they get collection or foreclosure notices in the mail. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. When you visit HometitleLock.com/Kim, you'll get a free title history report and a 14-day free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection, including 24/7 monitoring of your home's title, urgent alerts to changes, and if fraud does happen. Their U.S.-based restoration team will work to restore your title, covering costs up to $1 million. Don't wait. Protect your home and equity today. Get your free 14-day trial at HometitleLock.com/Kim. That's HometitleLock.com/Kim.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Thank you for listening. Here is hour 2.
Let's start with something interesting. If you're going to a trip to Canada, Microsoft recently published an article on their website about Ottawa, a list of things that you shouldn't miss. Now, on the list, go to a baseball game, a war museum, visit the Ottawa Food Bank. What was that? Yeah, I mean, a food bank that feeds families in need. As it turns out, it was written by AI. Microsoft apologized that we didn't mean to put that on the list because it also said, oh, hey, you better go hungry to the food bank. What was up with that? Yes, AI. We always need human editors. Speaking of AI, there's the new Russian AI application called ChatKGB. It's asking all the questions, and you have to answer them. And on that happy note, welcome. It's the Kim Komando Show. I'm America's digital goddess here with you once again. And you're about to get more tech smarts because every single thing is a tech thing. You can find my award-winning show on 400 radio stations across the United States. And a special shout-out goes to all of our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. All right, we're going to kick off this hour not with the tech news that you need to know. Instead, I want to let you know more about what's going on with the wildfires in Maui. The news has just dropped off the radar, but the people are still suffering. Okay, so as many of you know, I have lived part-time on Maui for a really long time. Well, let me go back in time. I was about 4 years old the first time I went to Maui, and here's why. My dad worked for United Airlines, so rather than going to Florida from New Jersey, which is what everybody else did, we actually went to Hawaii. Now, at that time, a bunch of United Airline pilots, they all got together and they built this 8-story building in Kihei. It was all condos, and they leased the condos out for $30 a night. And that included a free rental car. It's called the Manukai Maui now, in case you're ever there. And it's a magical place, Maui. When the news of the fires in Lahaina town, let me just tell you, it just broke my heart. Friends and family, my ohana, they kept me up to date with text messages and phone calls. I immediately put together a list of reputable ways that we could all help the people of Lahaina and Maui. And then I shared that with all of you. Well, a dear friend of mine in Hawaii, he's been helping so many people deal with the loss of lives and history. And let me tell you, he is such a wonderful person. He's served the island people for so many years. I'm talking about police and veterans. He is the talented voice on KHVH there in Honolulu every weekday morning. And he does a whole bunch of other radio shows too. His name is Rick Hamada. And I'm so thrilled to have Rick here with us here on the show. Hi there, Rick.
Aloha, sister. It is good to connect with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I'd like to hear from you. How important is Lahaina to Hawaii?
Wow. It is so essential in many ways. And I'll start with history. It is the former capital. It is the home of Hawaii royalty. The name of the island, Maui, is named after a Hawaiian demigod, and it holds such a great magnet for attracting and retaining so many good, great people here at home and from around the world, including yourself. Now, Maui and Lahaina specifically is termed no ka'oi, which means the very best. Mm-hmm. And that phrase doesn't come lightly, given the entire state. So the emotional, familial, historical importance of Maui and Lahaina cannot be denied. But in a more practical standpoint, Maui is our second largest chain in the archipelago comprising Hawaii.
Right.
It is comprised of several counties, if you will, including Koho'olave, Lanai, and Molokai. Mm-hmm. Generates in tourism revenue over $4 billion to $5 billion a year, depending on the year that you cite most recently. The financial contribution, the imagery, the marketability of our state, it is a primary destination for so many people.
It's just, I mean, it's exquisite. It's stunning. I can't think of a more beautiful place. My mom, I think you know, she because of United Airlines, she traveled to 77 different countries. And when she was in the last stages of pancreatic cancer, I said, tell me, where do you want to go? Wherever you want to go in the world, I will take you there right now. And she said, I want to go to Maui. And I just want to sit on the patio, the lanai of the house, and I just want to watch the ocean, which is what we did. But that was so telling that a woman who has traveled since the 1950s all around, I mean, you name it, the woman has been there. But that was where she wanted to say, this is where I want to be. I want to see the most beautiful place in the world. And you bring up a good point. So many different aspects about the history and the people and just the devastation. And if I can ask you, what is the current state of the recovery efforts?
Kim, that's one of the more distressing aspects of where we are in this point just about 2 weeks later, because there are complete devastation of buildings, facilities, landmarks, but we're all concentrating on recovery of loved ones. And after rewatching the wildfire video as it encroached upon Maui, the swiftness, the surety, the pervasiveness, the all-encompassing effect of that fire, it was clear to all of us that many of our friends and family unfortunately did not survive. So
many people. I mean, that's just so many lives, so many tragedies, so many families affected.
I try and qualify that on the program. Every time you hear a number, I want you to associate that is a mother, father, child. That data is one thing, but the emotional connection we have with loved ones supersedes. We are just trying to grieve, but be proactive in finding resolutions, Kim.
I don't know if a lot of people realize how hard the people of Lahaina worked. Some of the people, 2-3 jobs, right? I mean,
amen.
These are the people who work in all the resorts. That work in Costco and Kahului, the airport, and families, multi-generational families living in 800-900 square feet.
That's true. You're absolutely right. We in Hawaii, there are a lot of things that we confront and that we overcome in order to remain in this wondrous place. The economics command that many do exactly that, working multiple jobs just to survive. And the desire to thrive is somewhat mitigated by what you described, the ohana, the family, the connections, the remaining, because so many leave our state. We're averaging one person every 20 minutes that's exiting the state of Hawaii.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
We're having an exodus, and this is previous to the wildfires. So when you talk about industriousness, the people of Hawaii at large, but yes, Lahaina, because so many worked in and around Lahaina, but they live elsewhere. They'll live up country or they'll live east side. And it's perilous now that our number one industry is being compromised yet again within a period of short time after COVID.
I was going to say after COVID, right? And it's
yeah,
horrible. We can talk about supporting Maui through all the donations, and I have the list on my website. But I want people to realize that you can still go to Maui and you can still help the people and you can still support the economy, because it's that number that you mentioned, $4 billion. I mean, that's a big number. And there are so many local businesses. I'm talking about, like a friend of mine, he owns Scuba Shack in Kihei. Okay. And he called me. He said, I can't believe that they're saying this state is dead. I can't believe that they're saying that the state is closed. I have bills to pay. I got boat. I have employees,
Right.
And I did a search because I was just curious. What are the airfares now between Phoenix and Maui? Because the other thing people have to remember that Lahaina is 30 miles away from, say, Wailea or Kihei, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Lahaina, I looked it up. Lahaina represents 1.29% of the island.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not to say that we're not going to be respectful of the families and the tragedy and what has happened. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that Maui is still open. And there are still a lot of people there that are depending upon the tourists to pay their bills.
Amen. I can't thank you enough for stressing that, because that's of grave concern. And I'm already hearing from families that are looking to close their businesses, thereby their staff will be out of work. And if we have that domino effect, we're going to be in a equally challenging situation for the entire island. 1.9 square miles. You know what? The island of Maui is 723 square miles. There's over 700 square miles of wonderful beauty and accommodation and experience. Mm-hmm. And we're just hopeful. At the time right now, for folks who are listening, planning a vacation, you often plan 4, 6, maybe longer months in advance. If there's a sentiment that says, oh my gosh, Maui, it's going to be tough, I don't think we should go, we're going to feel those ramifications down the line months later, extending the impact of the economic downfall. And that will be very, very difficult.
When I looked at the airfares from Phoenix to Kahului is $415 round trip.
Wow.
From Atlanta to Kahului is $626. Get this, from Chicago nonstop to Kahului round trip, $234.
Wow.
I mean, that's really something. So just real quick, what you can do. Okay, you can obviously you take the road to Hana, Haleakala. You can snorkel, you can scuba dive. There's the Maui Ocean Center. Paia, tons of great hiking all over Maui. There's windsurfing, paddleboarding, stand-up, kite surfing. You can go to Big Beach, Little Jeep. You can go to Big Beach and Little Beach in McKenna. I'm not going to tell you which one is the naked beach.
And because you wouldn't know for sure because you've never experienced it personally. So.
No, not that I would ever go there topless ever. Come on, Rick.
No, come on.
You can play.
Eo Valley. Eo Valley is wonderful.
Stunning. The needle there is amazing. There's zip lining. There's helicopter tours. I'll tell you, the last time I played.
Golf?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say. Last time I was in Maui, I played the blue course in Wailea, and we were playing best ball. Myself, my husband, a couple of friends from Orange County, and the greenskeeper actually came up to me and he said, "I know who you are. And if you don't mind, would you let the players behind you play through?" And I said, I said, absolutely, they can play through as many people you want to play through. And so now we get to hole 9, and he said, I would have thought you were a better golfer. And I said, if you never tell anybody that I'm such a bad golfer, I promise we're going to have lunch and we won't play the back 9. So.
I love it. And comparison on some of the courses on the mainland, the marshal will come and go, hey, pick up. And then that's it. Here in Hawaii, it's, hey, would you do this?
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it.
Well, you know what? We're running out of time. So our hearts and prayers are with you and everybody on island. And you know me, if there's anything I can do personally, professionally, Rick, you just call upon me.
I appreciate that. May I just share one site that we're partnering with? It's called Kokua, KOKUAFOR, Maui, MAUI.com. And we're an iHeart radio station and a group, and we're partnering with the American Red Cross Hawaii, local Hawaii Red Cross, and we're effectuating some great progress in helping others. And I can't thank you enough, Kim, for your years of friendship, but also for your heart, as it is a part of our Valley Isle and more.
It is. Most definitely. Thanks for being here, Rick.
Thanks so much, Kim. Aloha.
Okay, he's just wonderful. Okay, Kokoa for Maui. Kokoa means help in Hawaiian. Because right now, people in Lahaina, so many of them are still living without electricity or water. So Kokoa for Maui is the Red Cross. And they have provided almost 20,000 overnight emergency shelter and hotel stays. They provided about 105,000 meals and snacks for people in need. They also have identified about 2,000 homes that have either been destroyed or suffered major damage. Now, 400 people are missing. And unfortunately, you just know that kids are on that list because the elementary schools were closed because of the fire, and the teachers sent the kids home, and many of them were home alone because their parents were working. It's just a real tragedy. So kokoaformaui.com, you know, if you can give $5, $10, whatever you can give, you're definitely going to make a difference. So it's a busy Reddit community. Am I the a-hole? It's a place on the internet where people go and they tell their stories. And then they ask everybody in this Reddit community, am I right or am I wrong or am I the metaphorical a-hole? So it's time for you to put on the judge's hat. Now, once a week, I handpick a post for your consideration, and then the judgment falls on your shoulders. Are they or are they not an a-hole? But wait, there's more. We always have a special guest contestant just primed and ready to embrace the challenge and compete for that grand reward. You know what that is. It's the Kim Komando Show official fanny pack. I know. It's a big deal. And joining us this week is Trish from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Hi there, Trish.
Hi there.
So what do you do there in Allentown?
I actually work at a hospital, and I work in compliance. So,
oh, nice. And making sure that the ransomware doesn't get there too, I bet, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's a big job. All right, so I'm going to read you this story, and then at the end, you're going to have to tell me whether or not it's a mom, whether or not she's the a-hole. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
13 years ago, my family won a wrongful death lawsuit for the death of my husband. Now, as part of the settlement, my daughter gets access to a trust fund when she turns 21 years old. The trust fund gives her about $40,000 a year until she turns 30. My daughter has known about this since she's been in elementary school, and since then, she's gotten really popular on Instagram and TikTok as a dancer and as a singer. But at the same time, she's struggling in school, socially and with the work. She's been held back twice. She's 16 years old right now, and my state allows students to drop out at that age. But my daughter's ex-stepfather, I guess that would be her ex-husband, right, Trish? Okay.
Right, okay. I guess.
My daughter's ex-stepfather of 10 years is very much pro-education. He's furious that she's even considering hanging out in LA with other influencers and calling that a job. But my daughter's ambitious. She says that she needs all day to devote to being an influencer, doing collaborations and getting ready for events and creating new content. So against her, again, the ex-stepfather's protests, I signed off on the decision 2 days ago that she is no longer a high school student. So am I the a-hole? And we all know, she continue on, we all know that she has financial backup the moment she turns 21. And I don't see how keeping her in something that she hates, like school, and finds boring, is better than letting her do something that she's just passionate about. So, Trish, is the mom's asking, am I an a-hole or not?
I don't think she is in this case, because it sounds like the kid is very dedicated and ambitious, and I think that's a good option. I believe in education, so I guess it depends on what the family believes in education, but I definitely don't think the mom's an a-hole in this case.
Okay, let's see what the internet says.
Oh, no.
Trish, the whole internet said the woman's an a-hole.
Oh, no.
I know. You know what? I would make that kid stay in school.
Yeah.
I would.
I mean, I could see that. I definitely would agree with that. But I also understand this next generation, you know, when they're passionate about something, they work towards it. So that was my thought process.
You know, and
I
you
understand.
know, yeah, and being 16 and wanting to be an influencer, I still would make her, I would say, you know what, I get that, but you need to stay in school, at least get a high school diploma, or at least get a GED. I mean, I graduated high school when I was 15 because I went to college in order to take the extra classes. Because in New Jersey, where I went to school, you needed 4 years of English and you needed 4 years of history for some reason. And so I went and took history and English at night at a community college. So this way I could graduate high school early. So, because I was like, I'm done.
Wow.
So anyway, so where there's a will, there's a way. So if it was me, I would have made the kids stay. And yeah, $40,000. That's not a lot of money after you pay taxes, especially living in LA. You know, it's just not going to be something. All right. So moving on. How can I help you?
So my question is, my mother will be 92 this year,
God bless.
And she has a lot of recipes from my grandmother, and my grandmother was from Sicily. So nothing was written down, but my mother has written down recipes over the years. And we'd like to make a cookbook to memorialize them, but also to give as gifts for Christmas. And I was looking at a lot of these cookbook sites and apps, and I was just wondering, you know, what is the best one out there? Because they really vary in price and in what you have to do.
Yeah, and I love that we have it handwritten because there's...
Yes.
I mean, that's just amazing. And what's nice is that, you know, you can scan them in, right?
Yes.
You don't have to scan them in at 1200 DPI, by the way. If it's going to be printed, it's probably 300 DPI. If it's just going to be on the screen, 75 or 150 DPI. So what you want to do is just, you know, just keep that in mind because it can get it can take a lot of space, and then it takes longer to open the file, edit the file, do things like that. Mm-hmm. The other thing that you could do with just the recipes is to have pictures of people eating that dish. Right. And then maybe ask for quotes from other people about that dish. I mean, what was the best thing that your mother made?
So we like this one. It's a very basic dish, but it's chicken, potatoes, and peas. And it's just like a casserole dish that is very inexpensive, but very filling. So if you're on a budget and have a large family, it's a wonderful dish.
See, just what you said.
Yes.
That would be amazing to have next to the recipe.
Okay. Got it.
Because it'll bring it to life, and then you have your picture there with your quote underneath it. And then I'm sure there's somebody in the family who said, you know what, I like the chicken, I like the peas, but you know what, I added some noodles with the potatoes, or I wanted asparagus, you know.
Right.
And this same thing with, Sicily, you're more olive oil based, right?
Right.
So you have, oh gosh, so good. I'm like, I want some bread and olive oil, balsamic vinegar. You know,
yes.
It's like, I don't know whoever said, we have to live on all protein, but it's terrible. It's like there's nothing like, and I have to tell you this because you are Italian. So last night, I didn't want to cook. And so I thought it'd be like a good idea. So I said, let's order a pizza. And so I said, well, I'm going to go order healthy. Okay. And so my friend Nicole was over and she's like, we ought to try that chickpea pizza crust.
Oh.
Okay. So
I never had that.
And I'm like, how bad could it be? It was the worst. Okay.
Really?
Yeah. Chickpea. And it's like, like 50% less carbs, 25% more protein. I'm like,
yuck.
Yeah, it was awful. It was awful. Okay. All right. So in order to lay it out, you can use Microsoft Word. You can use Adobe InDesign. There are those where you can buy the software and it's going to do the cookbook and all that other great stuff. I would be more inclined, because this is a gift, is to make it a beautiful coffee table book.
Oh, okay.
And so you have a picture of your mom, or like some pictures of the family in the old country, and where you have their pictures and you introduce them as characters.
Okay.
And you say what their favorite saying was, because this is going to be something this is something somebody's going to look at 100 years from now.
Right. Right.
With everything that we have digital, it's fabulous. But think about how many pictures on your phone versus how many you have printed in your house, and which ones are going to last, right? So
exactly.
So I don't know. My mother's. I could see her today. She'd say to me, are you stupid or are you a moron? Like, I'd be like, I don't know. Is there one better? Trying to think this out. Okay. But there are websites like CreateSpace and Blurb and Lulu, and they will help you design, print, and bind the cookbook. They also have design templates for cookbooks, but I like that you're not limited to just a cookbook, because you can use part of the book as like a photo album.
Right.
And then
I like that.
Yeah, and then part of the book as an honest to gosh cookbook with recipes and all that other stuff. And then they also offer different binding. Like the hardcover that's going to give you that premium feel, right?
Right.
If you want to make it really a cookbook, you can make it spiral. But I think if this is something, a legacy, I would want to really just give it that premium feel and that hardcover book. And like I said, you're going to, write the significance of the recipes, any memories associated with it, any personal notes, any tips, any variations to the recipes.
Right.
Because I think that's really going to be something, and have those index cards, because you can't put a price on that. That's
right.
That's
exactly.
That's just going to be amazing. So we're going to send you some links to these sites, but in case you're listening, take a look at Blurb, Lulu, and CreateSpace. And Trish, thanks for your call today. All right. I know we're sitting here late summer, and it's hard to think like, oh my gosh, Christmas is just months away and you're going to need some money. But this is what we've done here at the Kim Komando Show. We are always planning ahead for all you guys and gals. So we put together a list of 20 jobs, the best jobs that you can do at home to earn some money. And I'm going to go through them very quickly. I just want to spark some interest in your mind. And then I'm going to tell you where you can find a link to all 20 of these. So like, for example, number 1 is transcription. And the best part is you can do it at home on your own schedule. And there are work for home sites like Daily Transcriptions and Medical Transcriptionists, but it's more than that. You can also be a freelance writer, actually on the increase because of AI. You could be a blogger. You could evaluate search engines. You could also be a virtual assistant. They make around $30 an hour. You could also be your own answering service at home. You could be an online reseller on sites like Marketplace and eBay. You could also be a secret shopper for someone. You could also go to TaskRabbit and help people, say, move things, pack or clean, or just be a handy person. You could be a call center rep. You could be a social media consultant. You could make money walking dogs or sitting pets. You could be an online tutor, an expert, a beauty rep. So again, you're going to find a list of all these 20 jobs free for the taking by heading over to Komando.com. That's with a K, of course, and hit that Show Picks of the Week button. All right, Joyce in Nashville, Tennessee.
Well, my sisters and I have 4 sisters.
Nice.
We do a sisters weekend, one weekend a year. The problem we run into is when we're driving in the car, if there's a conversation going on in the front, the people in the back can't hear, and vice versa. So I've been trying to find something that might make it so that we could all hear each other when we're carrying on conversations.
So all 4 of you.
Might be able to solve it.
So all 4 of you are
5.
Oh, 5. Okay, so there's 5 of you. That's right. You said you had 4 sisters. Wow, boy, your parents, they were busy.
Oh, there were a bunch of boys, too, so yes.
Oh, okay. This is just a big, lovely family. Okay. So the 5 of you were in the car. You're all chit-chatting, laughing, having a great time.
Right.
And you're having trouble hearing each other?
Yeah, so we want to all be talking together on the same conversation, but it's hard to hear the people in the front if you're sitting in the back or vice versa. So
okay, well,
just wondered if there was something available.
You could all put on Bluetooth headsets, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can connect multiple headsets to a phone app or a voice chat app. You could use even Discord or Zoom. So you all have the headsets on.
Okay.
You could also have everybody wear a headset, and then using a Bluetooth FM transmitter, you could have the whole conversation come out over the car's radio.
Okay.
So this way everybody could be able to hear it that way. You could probably have a group call where everybody joins in and then put that call on speaker. Or you can, or where you can also take that call and using the FM transmitter, put it into the car's speakers. You could have everybody, get on a voice chat and with headsets, and then put it in. Just have a Bluetooth speaker in the car.
Okay.
Or you could just say, "I'm the oldest. I get to talk right now."
Well, a couple of them have a little bit of hearing problems, so we have to take that into consideration.
Oh, okay. So probably that said, I would do the Bluetooth headsets.
Okay.
So that this way they'll be able to hear rather than making everything go through the car speaker or through a speakerphone or even a Bluetooth speaker or anything like that. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to have a group call, and then everybody's going to connect to it using their device.
Okay.
And then they'll be able to hear the conversation in their ear, and then they'd be able to just talk using that Bluetooth headset. And then I think that would probably be the best thing. So when you guys are driving along, what's the big conversation about?
Oh, everything. Our kids, our grandkids, growing things about growing up. We all have hobbies, just a myriad of things.
That's fabulous. That's, yes. That's just a great time had by all. It is. Truly is. Hey, Joyce, thanks for your call today. Appreciate you getting through. One of the fun things, Joyce, you could do is actually get together when you're in the car and tell each other stories, and then save these recordings, and then have that whole conversation transcribed, and then you can make a book. How fun would that be? Hey, the next time you have to go somewhere, open the Google Maps app and then put in your destination and select the car for driving directions. Now, right underneath the estimated travel time in miles, you're going to see a little green and white leaf. Oh, love that. That's the most efficient route. And these usually have fewer hills, less traffic, and constant speeds. And Google Maps also includes the average fuel consumption for cars in your area. Now, if you don't see the little green and white leaf, just open your Google Maps settings and then tap the three dots and look under route options. And then you're going to go ahead and switch next to prefer fuel efficient routes on. And then bingo, you got it. Hey, tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show, because knowledge is power. You can find me over at Komando.com.
Is hour 3.
All right, let's kick things off with something super interesting. The next time you twirl that spaghetti all covered with cheese on your fork, you may find something more than just spaghetti and meatballs. There could be a chip in your meal. What? Yeah, no joke. Italian cheesemakers, they've been hit with a cheesy dilemma: counterfeit Parmesan cheese. And it turns out there are fakes everywhere selling for top dollar prices. So here's how it works. When it's scanned by a laser reader, the chip will emit a unique ID to tell you whether or not it's the real deal straight from Italy. But don't worry, they say the chips are completely edible. I don't know if they taste anything, probably not. And if there's no chip, guess what? It's nacho cheese. Oh, yeah. On that happy note, you're about ready to get more tech smart, because every single thing is now a tech thing. And if you're a brand new listener, so glad to see you. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. I'm Kim Komando, America's digital goddess, here with you. And you have tapped into the nation's largest, best award-winning show about all things digital. You can find us on over 420 top stations across the United States. And you can find us streaming in your favorite radio app. And you can also find us as a podcast, a webcast over at Komando.com. Inside the Komando community. And a special hello goes out to all of our listeners in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries who are now joining us on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women. Hello, all you guys and gals. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And if you're just too shy to come on a big-time radio show and podcast, I get that. You can drop me your questions over on the website. I know, little old school, but it works. Commando.com and hit the link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I check out at least 35 different websites to make sure that you and I are both up to date on what the heck's going on in the tech world. And here are 5 things that you need to know, starting with your car. Now, today's cars are just computers on wheels. So with the right electronics and tricks, yes, hackers can intercept, they can block your key fob signal, they can even remotely control your car. So I know what you're saying, like, oh, Kim, they must have expensive tools to do this. Not really. Some of them are like $20. So you have to fight back. If your car has an app for remote access, that's a big red flag that the hackers are using. So I want you to change the default passwords and make sure that you always keep that app updated. Now, every newer car has an onboard diagnostic port. Anybody can buy a kit to exploit that. So, always go to a reputable mechanic. And then, of course, we may have to go old school on this. Yes, a physical steering wheel lock. Those are pretty hard to break. All right, number 2 on your list, as I warned you about this before many times, and now finally Congress is getting involved. I'm talking about the Boppy newborn lounger. It was recalled way back in 2021, leading to infant deaths, but used ones are for sale right now online on Facebook Marketplace and other places. Now, it has caused at least 10 infants to suffocate over the last 5 years. The babies were placed in the lounger on their back, side, or stomach. So the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission, they have requested an average of 1,000 takedowns a month for the lounger. Wow. These aren't the only recalled products. With ties with more than 100 infant deaths are still being sold on Facebook Marketplace. So some 4 members of Congress, they said, hey, Facebook Meta, you got to help us deal with this. So here's the deal. You need to tell everyone you know to look into the products that they're buying online to see if they've been recalled. These are not the only recalled products. So head over to cpsc.gov/recalls, and that's where you can do your search. Number 3 on our list is, if you haven't been to the British Museum in London, you really should. Let me tell you, it's a pretty amazing place. Last time I was there, I was kind of wandering around into the money section. I'll never forget this because a gal actually had some of the coins taken out of the case. And she was holding gloves, and she said, here, would you like to hold the coins? And then she told me all about them. These coins were from like 700 AD. And then I started thinking about everybody that held these coins. But the thing about the British Museum is they have everything from all parts of the world, right? They have the Rosetta Stone, ancient Egypt, Rome, Easter Island, you name it. And it's kind of ironic, I found this story, that over 1,500 valuable artifacts have been stolen from the British Museum over the last decade. And of course, everybody says that the British Museum has stolen everything else around the world. But the reason why I bring this up is that one piece of Roman jewelry from the museum worth upwards of $63,000 was just sold on eBay for $50. What? Yeah, the museum's senior curator of Greek and Roman art is the main suspect. Of course, his family says, oh, no, he'd never do anything like that. The curator's Twitter name is the same as the eBay seller, who sold 70 items. Okay. The British Museum, they fired the guy. But guess who else is upset? The people of Nigeria and Greece, because they made calls to say, hey, we want our stuff back. We want our stuff back. We'll see what the British Museum says with that. Number 4, a real big warning. I talked to people who have been victims of romance scams so many times. Now, there's this new app called Expression Chat. Anyone with an iPhone or Android can use it. It's an app that integrates photos with ChatGPT. And so the basic premise is this. You can take a photo of anyone or anything and make it talk to you. It is the ultimate tool for romance scammers. So you upload a photo. It prompts you to create a personality for who would be talking inside this picture. You choose a voice. They have over 50, and they sound really darn good. And then it transforms right into an avatar in just seconds. Here, take a listen to what it sounds like.
Can you cheer me up?
Hey there, buddy. Life can be like a roller coaster with ups and downs, but it's all part of the ride.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't sound like a robot, does it? No. Pretty good. So again, it's called Expression Chat if you want to try it. But more importantly, I just wanted you to know that this exists and it's going to be so easy to get scammed by it. And finally, this coming in at number 5, swiping right for a paycheck. Grace Ling's dating profile. She lists curiosity, open-mindedness, love of learning. For her ideal date, she wants to go to a tech conference and listen to a TED Talk. What's going on with that? She's looking for a job through online dating app Grindr. They did a survey. They found that 25% of folks are using it to network, not necessarily to get a date. So the next time you're looking to find someone to date online, just know they could be handing you a resume. Talk about bait and switch. All right. Have you ever thought what you would do if you suddenly lost access to medical care, from supply chain issues and medication shortages to natural disasters? Unfortunately, it's a real possibility. Many of those affected by the wildfires in Hawaii are struggling to get access to medication right now. That's why every home needs a JACE case. Each JACE case includes an emergency supply of 5 commonly used antibiotics, and it's curated by a team of physicians and clinical pharmacists. I just got a JACE case for our home, and I was so pleasantly surprised with how easy it was. There's no need to drive to a doctor or even the pharmacy. You just go online, you fill out a simple form, and your JACE case is delivered right to your door, all at an affordable price that beats traditional pharmacies. So get peace of mind knowing you have access to life-saving medications no matter what comes your way. Go to jacemedical.com. Use code Kim at checkout for a discount on your order. That's jacemedical.com, code Kim. Let me spell it for you. JASE medical.com, code Kim. Frank in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
I'm just bringing up the thing called a Saturn app, which apparently a lot of high schools, and they say high schools, but it's 13 years to 18 that are allowed to access this app. And there's a lot of vulnerabilities that some parents may not know about. A lot of parents probably don't even know their kids have it.
Right.
But a 41-year-old parent just looked at this app, didn't know his daughter had it, wasn't mad at her, but decided, hey, I'm going to look into this. Logged in, was able to basically give a name, make up a name, make up a birthday, make up a graduating date to act as his daughter with a cell phone number. Was able to access, and basically it gives you access to all the kids in your school, their schedules. You can post your schedules, your profile with a picture. It gives you class time schedules, teachers, class rosters, team rosters, school events.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's just
links to Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, all that stuff. And, first of all, my problem's with a 13-year-old doing that, let alone a kid. But he's a 41-year-old man who could have been a predator or anything. And, so this came up, and it kind of got nationwide. And apparently Saturn did a quote-unquote update, so that couldn't happen. But one of my questions is, why, if you're sharing this to students, would you even need to update that? You should have seen all this before it ever happened, security-wise.
One would hope, right?
Yeah, but a lot of parents have no idea.
No, because they don't. A lot of parents don't. A lot of parents don't care. A lot of parents
don't care, or they're taking care that they don't want their child. They want their child to be their friend, and not, why are you looking at my phone? Well, hey kid, it's not your phone, and my job is to protect you.
Thank you. I wish more people would say that. And I would tell my son, you know what? Having a phone is not a rite of passage. It's my phone,
privilege,
right?
And it's a privilege.
It is a privilege. And he's 22 and never had any issues, knock on wood, with phone. Well, I don't expect anything now.
That you know of.
Yeah. Well, you know what? He would have told me.
Okay.
Because that's the relationship that I have with him.
Okay.
And it took a lot of work to get there. Trust me.
Yeah.
But he's an amazing guy. I mean, graduated from USC in honors, and he's going to law school now. And
not USC.
Yes.
I went to Notre Dame, and my son went to Notre Dame. So, hey, but great school. Good friends went to USC.
Fight on. Okay. So.
Yeah, there you go. And so one of the other things, talk about parents. I'm a Scout adult with the Scouts BSA. And our troop, and Boy Scouts of America, has a thing called the Cyber Chip Program.
Correct.
Which every year, the child, given his grade, goes online with his parents, and they look at threats and stuff, and they discuss it. And then the child comes up with a contract between the scout and his or her parent, saying, hey, I'm not allowed to do this. I understand. Which to me is, again, we're trying to let them become adults.
Well, and that's just it.
Suffering.
That's just it. If you go to commando.com/contract, I've had this pretty much, that out there for 20 odd years. But let's talk about Saturn.
Sure.
Is that you're absolutely right. That just became immensely popular the first part of August. And then it was like, oh, well, wait a minute. I actually wrote about this in our free newsletters because Saturn, they came out and they said, oh, we did a big update. We're going to make sure that your kids are safe. So they say they said they're going to verify it on different processes and signals, and but maybe not email verification because the school doesn't allow. They never said. It was a whole bunch of corporate BS. Okay?
Yes, they talk around the issues.
100%.
And their legal statement hasn't changed in reality since it came to nationwide attention. It's the same one. They just used the language of talking, lawyer language, basically, talking around any liabilities.
Well, but it's not just this app. It's there are so many other different apps like this, but it brings up a more important task for parents, and especially since I recently read and I talked about it on the show that over 50% of parents say they couldn't raise their kid without a smartphone. So, but it brings up just an important focus is that if you've got a child, I never hear from you until there's a problem. And then all of a sudden, you're going to call me up. This is what happens. They call me up, Frank, and they say, oh, little Johnny and Janie got into trouble over at the porn sites, or they're getting cyberbullied, or they sexted somebody, and I don't know what to do now. Well, you should have been there in the beginning. You should have been watching. Okay, I don't mean to say should, but that's the bottom line. You know what? Yeah. If you were man and woman enough to have a child, it's your responsibility to watch them to make sure that they are a good self-sustaining adult when they become 18 years of age. So you're preaching to the choir here. And unfortunately, not everybody agrees with this because they'll say, oh, you're taking away my kid's privacy.
My dad's idea of privacy was when we said privacy, he took the door off the hinges. You gave him lip and it's like, hey, you earned privacy. Yes, you should have it. But I'm responsible for you reaching 18.
And that was your dad's privacy policy in the household.
Yes.
Okay. But it's a problem. I don't know if there's any quick fix because as well as I do, and I was a scout leader too, you got bad parents and you got good parents. Okay. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'd have to call a parent and say, oh, Michael's here. Oh, shoot, I forgot all about him. Like, how do you forget about your kid? Okay.
Yeah.
So, but then you have the parents who are really into it, and they're like, "I'm going to make sure that Johnny or Janie, that when they go on their own, they're going to know how to do everything." And so, but the bottom line here is that if you've got a kid and you're not watching what they're doing online, I don't want your child to be a statistic. That kid in your family, hear about it, read about it all the time. I do, literally all the time. About how some girl, some kid met somebody online, they got killed, they got raped, whatever it may be. And then you reach out to me and say, how can I find out who did this? Well, don't be that person. Don't do that. Come from a sense of power. Don't push it off on anybody else. Don't push it off on apps that are supposed to watch your kids or the scout leader is supposed to watch your kids or whatever. It's your kid. You had him. You take care of him. It's that simple. And that includes watching their digital life, their digital existence. Because let me tell you something. They see something online. They do something online. Somebody hurts them. You cannot reverse it. You will not be able to reverse it. Even if they don't get hurt, they see something. They cannot unsee it. So you need to watch your kids. We have the contract. It's been out there for years. I keep it updated every year. Commando.com/contract. That's commando.com/contract. Free contract to use with your kids with all their digital devices. Frank, thanks for your call today. Hopefully we had a lot of parents listening, right? Hope so. All right, I have a rule. If an email is going to take me longer than, say, 45 seconds or a minute to write, I just pick up the phone or I send a video meeting invite that second. And if you're still fumbling with your TV remote controls, I am here to save the day. You may not have ever noticed that your TV or cable company's remote has a microphone or a voice button. So it's time for you to start using it. You don't have to hunt through the channel guides or anything like that. You just hit the microphone or the voice button and bam, you are in the future. Your TV will do as you command. You can browse apps and movies and shows. You can say what you want to watch. You can check the weather, the sports scores. You can launch content. You can do all of this just by using your voice. Now, the way that you set it up, Depends on your TV or cable provider. Just Google how and you can thank me later. Oh, let's sing it together. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Okay, that's totally why I failed my audition with one of the Beach Boys a couple of months ago. He's like, the guy sitting there, his name's Bruce. He's like, Kim, you have this greatest voice. You're going to be able to like sing. Every time I listen to your show, I just know that you have this great sultry voice. So sing for me. And there were people around me. And I was like, no, this is like super embarrassing. I'm not going to do this. And then my friend Joe's like, oh, just go ahead and do it. So I just went ahead and did it. And I said, so what do you want me to sing? And he's like, just pick something. And Barry's like, oh, you don't know what you're getting into. And so I just belted out in my best voice, good vibrations. And then the Beach Boy guy looked at me and goes, I think you should just stick to radio. Just think that would be good for you. But cue the angels because it's back to school time. The other day, true story, is I texted my son Ian and I said, so tell me, honey, this year, do you want the Hot Wheels backpack or do you want the surfer one? And he texted me back. He's like, cute, Mom. You're so funny. Okay. Ian's 22, going to law school. I don't think I see him with the Hot Wheels backpack. But here to join us here on the show talking about back to school specials and how not only if you're a student you could save is our amazing content queen, Allie Seligman. Hello there, Al.
Hi, Kim.
That's right. The Hot Wheels backpack, which you know what he really said after that?
What?
Do you expect me, a child who grew up with Hot Wheels, to be content with only one car?
That's a really good point. You kind of trained him for that.
Yeah.
That's on you.
I know. It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's a bad thing.
Yeah.
So where do we start saving money? And is it hard to get these student discounts?
Some things depend, right? There are deals that everybody can get, which is a really good part of back to school. I don't have kids, so I don't really care about back to school except for the deals. Some you do need to be a student or a teacher. We'll go over those. And there are some things that, well, maybe you have a student in the family and they can do it for you.
Oh, that'd be good.
Okay. Some that you actually need to be a student for. You can get pretty good discounts on Apple gear. You have to be a teacher, a student, you can be a professor, you can work at a school, you don't even have to be a teacher, or even homeschool teachers, which is pretty neat. You can get $50 off one of the really nice iPads or $100 off a MacBook, which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're expensive. And right now, because it's back to school time, you can also get a $150 gift card. So this is the time to buy. Apple has a special education store page. You have to apply, and then once you're verified, you can get the cheap prices. Microsoft does something similar. You can get 10% off if you are a student or, get this, a parent of a student. All right.
That's nice.
I know. They do educator discounts too. So does Samsung. They do 15% off for parents, students, and educators. Pretty darn good. And the nice thing about that one, it compounds with the discounts they do. So if it's already 15% off, you can get the extra 15% off on top.
Oh, that's nice. So they're not saying like either one or the other.
Nope. You don't have to pick.
Does it come with? Do any of the Samsung products come with a fire extinguisher? Just wondering.
Ouch.
Sorry.
That was one time, Kim.
I know. Sorry
okay.
about that.
This is a good time to buy laptops and computers in general, but laptops especially, you're going to find good deals because, college students need a laptop for the first time maybe, or just a better one. Dell, a full disclosure, they're a sponsor of the show. They did not tell me to talk about this. I just couldn't resist. They are having a huge sale right now. The Inspiron 15 laptop. That is the one that our IT genius John says, if you're going to get one, get this one because it's the best bang for the buck. Right now, $399. Normally, $779.
Wow, that is a deal. And you know what? And if John says to buy it,
I know.
Okay,
it's a good machine.
Yes.
When I need something or am trying to choose between something, I ask John.
So do I.
He's the guy for that.
Yeah. I mean, it was so great because when I saw him this morning, I was like, John, and and I try not to whine. Yeah, I try not to whine. I'm like, but John, can you help me fix my phone? And he's like, and he always says, I love what he always says. He's like, not a problem.
Yeah, he's
not
great
a
about
problem.
it.
He's fabulous.
Yeah.
He is. Okay.
That one is nice too. All the Dell sales. You don't have to be a student. Anybody gets these. We're going to move on to ones that anybody can get. If you're webcam, if you were that person that's always in a video meeting looking like a potato because you're so blurry, you need a new webcam. There's a nice Logitech one at Best Buy right now. Normally $100. You can get it for $50. Half off. This is the time. Also a good time for headphones and earbuds. AirPods are pretty cheap right now. Normally the second gen are $160. Right now they're $100. The AirPods Pro 2, normally $250. Yes, you can get them for $200.
Okay, but is it really a good time? Because we have new AirPods coming in a couple of weeks.
That is true. You could wait on the AirPods and you'll probably find this similar deal because once the new models come out, right, you're going to get discounts on the previous models. So, all right, we'll stick with that one. Wait on those.
But I will tell you that, see, I've been using iOS 17.
Yeah.
And it keeps coming up. Do you want to set up spatial audio? Okay. So what you're supposed to do, is hold the phone up to your face. Okay, then take your phone over to your right ear and then hold it there and then and then you spin it all around.
Like you're scanning your head.
You're scanning your eardrum.
Oh my gosh.
And then you do it to the other side. And then you have to do your head like 3 or 4 times. And you know me, it's short attention span theater.
You got bored halfway.
I did. I'm like, you know what? Just forget it. You know,
John, can you?
Yeah, John. Yeah, get that little one. Hi, John, can you? It reminds me of my mom. So sometimes we'd be shopping. And she would say, like, to whoever we're like a furniture store, she's like, "Oh, I'm just a widower. Can I get a discount?" I'm like, "Oh,
did it work?
Oh, all the time.
Oh my gosh.
I just lost my husband." I'm like, "Mom, that's 20 years ago." She's like, "They don't know." I'm like, "Okay."
It feels like yesterday.
It does. Sad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Backpacks. We got to talk about them, right? It's not tech, but 2 brands that have actual really cool backpacks, even for adults. Yes, Herschel. I am not kidding you. I have a Herschel backpack that I used in college. It's old, trust me, but it's still so cute, and I use it for traveling. It's nice. Patagonia bags are really nice, too, if you're into hiking, camping, or you just want a nice backpack. Pretty decent time to get a deal on a router, actually. The idea is, right, you might need a router for your new apartment or your new dorm or whatever it is. The Eero Pro system is on sale. If you have dead spots in your house, go to Mesh. You just need to do it, seriously. Yeah. One more for students, exclusively, but again, maybe you have a student in the family who could help you with this. 6-month free trial of Amazon Prime, which is pretty sweet. It's essentially the same as a regular Prime account, except it's cheap. It's only $7.50 a month after that 6-month trial, so a fair bit cheaper. There's also discounts for Peacock, the streaming service, only $1.99 a month instead of the normal $5.99.
Nice.
Yeah, and you know your kids steal all your streaming subscriptions anyway, so like make them pay for one. It's $2. Come on. And Kim, you raised a really good point with those headphones. So what should you not buy right now? Apple Gear is actually a really good one because all the good stuff is going to drop very soon.
Right.
That means all the previous models are going to get cheaper. Not the time for TVs and gaming consoles. Those are always big on Black Friday. So wait for those deals.
Okay, but wait, Allie. I mean, so what's a kid going to go, "Mom, I need a laptop, and I know it's back to school. I need a new Xbox."
Well, that's the thing, though. They try to get you because they put other things on sale, and your mind goes, "Oh, it must be the time to buy these. All the electronics are on sale."
That's true.
But it's
Good
only
point.
a little discount.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not going to be the Black Friday one. And listen, I'm sure kids have convinced their parents of much more than that. And then one more, not tech, but worth mentioning that you want to wait for, mattresses. If you need a new mattress, that's around the corner. Labor Day sales. That's where you want to be.
You know, because, you know, Ian is in law school.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've gone through like the grammar school, middle school, high school, college, and now we're law school. And, you know, the stuff still continues. Like, I mean, you know, it's like, you know, we still need to like buy books.
Right.
And a backpack. But I'm really surprised. I said, because he's had the same MacBook since probably sophomore year of high school.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, you know, don't you need a new MacBook? I mean, and I even told him, I said, I can get one for free off of my, because he's always very conscious about spending money.
Yeah.
And so I said, I can get it free off my rewards, my credit card rewards. So, and he's like, no, this one works fine. I'm like, are you sure? You know, but also keep in mind with student discounts is that that you can maybe get them at the bookstore too.
Yeah, that's a good point. That works for professors, educators, teachers too. You can get a good deal on one of those.
But we did have a situation last night that I was out at dinner and I had American Express text me and call me and email me that there was fraud on my account.
Oh no.
And it was for $177. So I snapped it and then texted it to Ian and said, "Is this you?" because whenever he needs to buy something for school, he puts it on my credit card, and then, I love this, I get reimbursed from his 529 account.
Oh, score.
I know. It's so great. And he's like, no, that's not me. So I'm like sitting there at like Steak 44, which is a nice place. I'm like, okay, just send me a new credit card. Okay. And so this morning he texts me and goes, oh, and I woke up this morning. That was me. I'm like,
oh, Ian, you're in trouble.
yes. It was like...
you're grounded.
But the name of the company, that was what's so screwy. It wasn't the name of the college or anything like that. It was a study guide that he bought, and he had to buy it for a class. And it was for like Sellers Consortium International.
They couldn't make it sound more scammy, could they?
Yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, this is total scam. This is total scam. So as far as like getting all these discounts,
yes.
I know you just rattled them off, and I'm sure there's somebody who's saying, oh, Allie's selling man, and I don't know where they are.
Oh, he's throwing all these things at me. We are going to have them on the website, of course, and you better subscribe to our newsletters because we are going to be sending these out early next week in our Tech Hacks newsletter. So subscribe to that, getkim.com. You better do it. Oh, and speaking of that guy with that voice, we got a review that I just have to read. I know this isn't really the time for it, but Kim, if you want to file this away for my, annual review later. Great job on the newsletter. I'm pretty sure Allie did all the heavy lifting. Tom from Kansas.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
I'm just the pretty face.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm just back here, the gremlin typing.
You know what? Speaking of Allie, get your butt in gear. Okay, come on. Boom, 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 boom. Let's go. It's time for you to get back to work. Thanks for being here.
Yeah. Thanks, Kim.
And she does a lot of the heavy lifting, as a matter of fact. She does. And that's it. I mean, but she's wonderful. Again, get those newsletters, getkim.com. Hey, real quick, is that if you are trying to get a recipe online and you got to go through the whole blogger's whole dissertation about how she liked chocolate chips and these chips and it was a grandmother's recipe and her great-grandmother came from Sicily and all the other stuff, here's what you need to do. Just hit Control F or Command F on your Mac. Type in the word print, and you're going to go straight to the recipe. James in Plano, Texas.
So I have a situation. I work deep nights during the week, and Monday night through Friday night, and of course on the weekends I go back to a day schedule because I try to pretend I have a little bit of a social life, So I was wondering, I'm trying. It's tough to juggle going back and forth every week as far as sleep and things like that, and it really needs to be kind of objectified. I've tried getting graph paper and colored pencils and drawing lines with time going to the right. I was just wondering if there's any kind of app that you know of that could help me manage this that would be a little bit less tedious than paper and pencil.
So what do you want to manage? The time that you're working, the time that you're sleeping?
The time I'm working is consistent and fixed. So the time I'm sleeping, really the time I'm sleeping, because like I say, it just kind of all gets lost in a fog after a while when you're not being objective about it, if that makes any sense. When it just kind of...
That's hard on your body.
Well, you know what? I don't disagree, but it's kind of something I have to do right now.
Sure, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, you can use Apple's built-in calendar. So you put in your work shifts, and then you can actually set reminders. So this is, and you can set a reminder that, this is when I need to sleep, or I need to at least go try to rest.
Yeah.
And then put your phone into sleep mode. So that this way you don't get all those annoying notifications, and because that will disrupt your sleep, obviously. But a lot of people don't realize that when you put your phone in sleep mode, if there's somebody who you want to be able to actually get through, that you can definitely do that. Just have to permission that person or that app.
Yeah.
And and an app might also help you too. Have you ever tried any type of meditational apps to get you to sleep?
Meditation? Mm-hmm. No, I don't generally really have a problem.
Oh, you don't?
Sleeping,
okay.
Unless it's sleeping too much.
Oh, okay.
And occasionally being late to work. So that's not really the issue. The issue is I need to do all these things like most people, 5 different things or things in a week. And I have to say, it would be nice to look at something and say, okay, during this time slot, I can't do that because I'm sleeping. You know?
Well, you know what?
Whatever.
Then I would look at using Apple's built-in calendar. Because this way you already have it on your phone, so you might as well try that. And that's where you can, like I said, you can set reminders. You can look at a schedule. It'll tell you if you're trying to schedule something during another time. It'll say, well, you know what? You got a conflict right here. I don't think you're going to be able to drop off that UPS at that time because you're supposed to be sleeping. Now, if that doesn't work, there is an app called Shift Work Schedule. Again, that's called Shift Work Schedule. It's tailor-made for people who work different shifts, like you do.
Okay.
And so you might want to, if you're having trouble with Apple's built-in calendar, then you might want to look at it. It's called Shift Work Schedule. But what I like about, because you already have an iPhone and you already have this built in, is that it also gives you the ability to actually say, I don't want to say the S word, the wake word, but set an appointment for me to do this. Make a note to tell me to do this. When I'm near the Safeway, remind me that I need to drop off my return for Amazon at the UPS. So, a lot of people don't realize that it's a pretty powerful app once you start using it. So try it. If that doesn't work, Shift Work Schedule is my second choice. James, thanks for your call. All right, there's one site that I really like. It's called Camel. It shoots you an email anytime something drops in price. You just create an account, drop in the Amazon URL, and then you set these options like only alert me when it drops below a certain price, or maybe if it drops by a certain percentage. Now, next use Honey. These are coupon codes, and it has a drop list feature similar to Camel. But with Honey, you get price alerts also across the sites, and they give you those valuable promo codes. And if you need more information about this, you need some tips and tricks, head over to Commando.com. Be sure to tell 3 friends about the show because knowledge is power. You can find me 24/7 at Commando.com.